Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's good news and bad news. The good news is I did set up the command for Ask the King. The bad news is for some reason the pre-stream stopped recording. So this pre-stream looks like it's going to be 2 parts now on YouTube. So for those on stream, it doesn't affect you guys at all. You're here live. For those on YouTube, you may be wondering why are there 2 pre-streams for today. It's because I guess I either misclicked, or I hit a button, and one of those buttons is the one that stops recording. So it got screwed up. Okay. Really stupid. Really dumb. Sorry. For those on YouTube. But for those on stream, it doesn't matter at all. You guys are fine, right? Okay, so here's what's going to happen. That command, please use that command to post up questions for Ask the King. At this point, I think I only have like 9 questions. I need more questions. The show is next Thursday. So the more questions I get, the better. The truth of the matter is, if I don't get enough questions, I'm okay with retiring the show. But every time I keep telling people that, people freak out and say, no, we love Ask the King, it needs to continue, and then they rush and they post up questions. So, by all means, post up your questions, guys, all right? The more questions, the better. And by the way, every 15 minutes or so, that link will post into the stream chat as well, so that you guys can just see that and click on it and go post, okay? So please do. I know this was not recorded an hour ago. How could it have been recorded an hour ago if I just on the fly made that command work? People are joking, obviously. All right. So yes, Ask the King coming up next week on Thursday. On Friday of next week, so that's 1 week from today, we've got a new release, Deadly Premonition 2 on the Switch. My Deadly Premonition 1 playthrough was pretty epic. It was a game I knew absolutely nothing about going into it. Ended up being a sleeper hit. It's this weird supernatural mystery game with horror elements, but also anime-ish crazy twist plot lines, and also stuff that was related to like Twin Peaks. It was a very weird one. I had a lot of fun playing the game, and I'm looking forward to the sequel 1 week from today. All right. And so what's going to happen then is I'm going to be balancing that new release with other stuff for that week, probably more than likely Fire Emblem and the Sleeping Dogs DLCs until I complete them, until the big new releases for the month come out 1 week later, which would be the 17th of July, and that would be Ghost of Tsushima and Paper Mario and the Origami King. And of course, that I'll be balancing those 2 new releases for a while. So, and then the night streams are probably going to be the return of chill streams. I'll probably be doing things like Animal Crossing and possibly Minecraft returning, and Morrowind probably returning as late night chill streams for a bit, at least for a week, next week, okay? So to recap, today, SpongeBob and Street Fighter. Tomorrow, Last of Us 2 and Pokemon. Sunday and Monday are up in the air. If I need more time for the games and I haven't beaten them, it could be those. If not, then it's probably going to be Sleeping Dogs DLC and Fire Emblem. The night streams are also up in the air. If I need more time again to finish SpongeBob and Last of Us 2 and review Last of Us 2, I'll use that. If not, we could see the return of Animal Crossing. I'm off on Tuesday. On Wednesday, when I come back, it's probably going to be Sleeping Dogs DLC. Thursday is Ask the King. And then Friday is the new release of Deadly Premonition 2. That's it in a nutshell. Okay? Chichurdi, I never played the original Paper Mario. I only played, it was Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door on the GameCube. I played that one for a bit. And actually, I liked it a lot. I did. I actually really liked the game. Very much. But I didn't have an opportunity to get too far into it. I believe I played it, I want to say like maybe like 8 to 10 hours. And then I basically, kind of got occupied with other shit. I told you guys, during that period of time, I was so heavily into Street Fighter, it was rare when I actually got to play console games. That was one that I enjoyed, and then I just dropped it. I got distracted by other shit in my life. So I will be very excited to be playing a full-on Paper Mario game for stream, which I've never done before, okay? So that is the schedule. In addition to that, guys, if you look at the top of your screens, you will notice that we have brought back the subscriber goal for the month of July. It's back. 725 subs. At this point, we're about 40 subs away from it. If we hit the subscriber goal, where we hit 725 subs concurrently, at any point during this month, there's some good stuff. What will it be? It will be the return of the Viewer's Choice playthrough, where you guys will be able to nominate and vote on a game for me to do a full playthrough of here on my streams. Alright? I hope you guys will check it out. I hope you guys will consider subscribing if you haven't. Some of the previous Viewers' Choice events that have happened have really created some really awesome playthroughs, including me checking out franchises I never checked out before, like the Persona franchise, the Yakuza franchise, Super Mario Sunshine, various Sonic the Hedgehog games like Sonic 2006, the Spyro series. More recently, Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Tooie. Right now I'm playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. That was a viewer's choice. We're playing SpongeBob. That was a viewer's choice. So all these games that I had never, ever been able to experience before were because people recognized that there were big gaps in my gaming library. They wanted to see me play them, and they nominated and voted for them during the viewer's choice event. So this is a unique opportunity again for that kind of a thing to happen if we hit the subscriber goal for this month. So please consider subscribing this month. And thank you to everyone who has not only subbed, but resubbed, gifted subs, everyone who supports the channel. Thank you for that. Okay? Fair enough. Also, very quickly, the Vest Streak continues at 164 and growing. This is insane. Every week, it goes by about 12. I got to do the math here. Because, go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that's another 8. So we have 172. And you figure another 12, 184, 196. So basically, by the end of this month, we'll be hitting around 200. And if we do hit that, that is the next milestone where we're going to do another Vestival celebration. I actually have one thing in particular planned that I think you guys will like, but I'm also looking for open suggestions on things I could do for like a live DSP Tries It if we do hit a 200 Vest streak. Already we got a suggestion. Apparently there's a grilled cheese burrito at Taco Bell, which sounds really gross. Well, who knows? We'll think about it. There's another few weeks to do. Or another few weeks to go here before we get to that point. Okay. Fair enough? All right, guys. So, outside of all that, I'm just trying to think, is there anything else to think about in regards to me and my streaming or whatever before we get to some news I'd like to talk about? I think a lot of you kind of know what I'm going to be talking about today. All right. Man. I think I covered all the topics. So you guys need to know about the gameplay streams and everything. I think we're done with that. All right. So now we can move on to the news. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know you guys have been anxiously awaiting me talking about a hot topic today. A topic that all of us have been really waiting to hear my follow-up take on. Something that, is going on right now. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Minecraft is getting a cereal. Yes, Minecraft cereal. It's official. It's absolutely official. All right. So let me talk about this for a little. It's very exciting news. Minecraft cereal. It's called Creeper Crunch from Kellogg's. It's going to be great. So it's cinnamon flavored cereal squares with marshmallows included. All right. The marshmallows will be different colors of green. And the cereal itself is square. The reason they're doing this is because they're trying to simulate pixels. Because as you know, in Minecraft, everything's pixelated. Okay? And I'm very excited. We've always wanted a Minecraft cereal. It says, I'm actually looking at the box right now. I got to show you guys this. Hold on. You ready? Let me show you this. I think this will work. Well, I'm not full screen. But there's what it looks like. Look at that. And it actually says Creeper Bit Marshmallows. So the marshmallows are supposed to be like pieces of creeper. You're eating pieces of the creeper. All right. Now this is funny because this was announced this morning. All right. And I see this. I'm like, not that it's a bad idea. I think that actually, Minecraft became such a mainstream thing, right? For such a long time, right? And it's one of the absolute biggest game franchises of all time, right? But for me, the thing that gets me about this isn't it a little bit late? You know what I mean? Isn't it a little bit late for this? Like, Minecraft was huge a decade ago. And admittedly, I was an ignorant idiot, right? But we're like so far into the life cycle of Minecraft. And again, not to say people don't play it. Not to say it's not still popular. It still is. It still is. But why now? You know, I would have thought 8 years ago, this thing would have been like the hottest cereal. Every kid would have wanted this cereal and would have been demanding it from their parents. You remember, at one point you would go to the store and actually you'd see Minecraft merchandise all over the store. Foam swords, action figures, t-shirts. And that was very popular. Like that mainstream popular. But I'll be honest. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Fortnite happened. And when Fortnite began many years ago, was it 3 years ago now, something like that, when it got popular, all the kiddies jumped from Minecraft over to Fortnite. And that's the hot game that all the kids play now. So I think this is late. You know, I'm not saying it won't be popular. I'm sure people will want to get it. Just a novelty value to buy Minecraft cereal, right? Would be an interesting thing, but, you know, that's just weird to me. It's coming out now. Does this mean in the year 2030 we will finally have Fortnite cereal? I don't know. It's just very odd to me that this is happening right now. Okay, but anyway, obviously that's kind of a non-story. All right, the big story that at least people in my circles are talking about is the official cancellation of EVO 2020. 100% canceled. Now, I talked about this yesterday, that there were allegations on the internet put against Joey Queller, also known as Mr. Wizard, the CEO of EVO, that he basically committed pedophiliac actions about 20 years ago at Sunnyvale Golfland, which was the biggest Street Fighter-related arcade on the West Coast in California. And there's not necessarily documented evidence, like no one was taking pictures of these things going on, but basically a lot of people have always talked about this behind the scenes. It's always been an ongoing thing in the Street Fighter community. People say, yeah, it happened, but for some reason it was always just kind of accepted and then forgotten. And now we are where we are today, and it's come to light because someone who I actually know from the old days when I used to be a troll on the internet and I used to troll the Street Fighter community, and I would be part of these IRC internet relay chats for Street Fighter. Well, I used to chat with this guy in the internet relay chat all the time, and I knew for a fact this guy was a kid who went to Sunnyvale Golfland in the 90s. And he came out with his story that basically Mr. Wizard essentially coerced him into showing him his private parts, even though he was underage. Okay? Obviously, serious allegations. Now, that's all we talked about yesterday because that's all we knew. Now, at that time, EVO was basically trying to determine what they were going to do in regards to this situation. And that was where it ended yesterday. Well, in the last day, a ton of stuff has happened. Okay? Capcom came out and said, we cannot participate in EVO. This is ridiculous. These allegations are ridiculously serious and dire. We're pulling out of EVO. That caused NetherRealm to pull out of EVO. That caused Bandai Namco to pull out of EVO, to which point, basically, there were no games that were going to be played at EVO anymore, because all the game companies said, we want nothing to do with this event. This is disgusting. In addition, gamers as well as commentators started saying, we've had enough of this. This is gross. We're pulling out of EVO. All right? So everything just started backing out of EVO. As this was going on behind the scenes, people in the gaming community started talking, and basically people started coming out saying, yeah, you know, there's no documented evidence of these accusations because no one was taking pictures back in the 90s, but pretty much everyone knew Mr. Wizard was doing this. Like, everyone knew, because back then Mr. Wizard was an arcade employee. I believe he was working for the arcade. That's how he was giving tokens to kids for doing these ridiculous acts, like taking their clothes off and jumping inside of a pool at the golf course that was there at the arcade. All right? Like, this was known. This was well known that this was happening. But people back then just kind of shrugged their shoulders and said, well, it is what it is. None of my business. You know, it's not like today where we're all woke and on the internet everyone talks about and exposes this behavior and gets people in trouble for it. Back then it was like, well, it's weirdo fringe behavior, but you just kind of put up with it. Okay? Now, it all comes to light 20 years later, right? So everyone in the community is now talking about it, saying, yeah, everyone knew this. Everyone knew about this, about Mr. Wizard, and it's funny that now it comes to light, and now all of a sudden it's a big deal because of this Me Too movement and the, tell your story kind of a deal on the internet and the cancel culture. Now it's a big deal, but people knew this about Mr. Wizard for 20 years. Okay? So, now that all this comes out, EVO makes an announcement. Well, because of all these allegations, we've immediately suspended and removed Joey Queller from the company. He's out. He's not going to be part of EVO ever again. In addition, the company will now be turned over to Tony Cannon. He'll be the new CEO. It'll be his job to make sure that these kind of things don't happen within the company moving forward. And we're canceling EVO Online 2020. Now, first of all, during this happening as well, Joey posts up, Mr. Wizard posts up on Twitter saying, yes, in my young days, I did many horrible things that I'm very sorry for now, and I've tried to improve myself as a person in the last 20 years, and I'm really sorry for anyone I hurt. He basically publicly admitted that he did it. Okay? I think he realized there's no way he can deny this at this point, because people behind the scenes knew that this was true. This has always been public knowledge that people kind of talked about behind closed doors, but no one wanted to talk about in public in the Street Fighter community. So he basically admitted it. All right? So, to me, here's my reaction. All right? First of all, to the initial announcement of what EVO's doing to make changes. So, Joey's out. Okay, that's the right decision to make. He's out. He's done. The company will now turn over to Tony Cannon. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about that in a second. We're canceling EVO Online 2020. Well, of course you are. Everyone pulled out. Like, literally, no one was going to do this thing. Every company said they didn't want their game represented at it. And every gamer and commentator said they weren't going to be a part of it. So, of course. Of course you're canceling the event. And then he said, oh, we're going to make sure that in the future, we're going to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen. All right. Now, guys, I'm sorry. Time for me to talk, truthfully about this situation. All right? And I have a unique take on this, being a part of the community at that time. I know about the situation going on. All right? Please, listen up. This is my take, and this is my knowledge on the matter. Certainly, I did not live on the West Coast. All right? So, full disclosure. I was an East Coast player. Okay? I did not live on the West Coast. I was not personal friends with the Cannons. I say the Cannons because they were twin brothers, Tom and Tony. Tom was always like a behind-the-scenes coder kind of guy. And then Tony was the one who kind of spearheaded Shoryuken.com, the Street Fighter community. Okay? I was not personal friends with Mr. Wizard. I did not know many of the West Coast players until I started traveling and participating in tournaments. All right? And then I started getting knowledge of these guys. I started having interactions with these guys. I started to see what they were all about. All right? Admittedly, this was not a great relationship that I had with these guys most of the time, because I was from the East Coast and I was an outspoken player and very critical of a lot of things that happened in the Street Fighter community, including the way that these guys ran tournaments, the way that these guys ran Shoryuken.com, and the way that they conducted themselves in the community. I will tell you about that in just a moment. So I was not a well-liked guy in the community overall, but in particular, these guys did not like me, all right, for various reasons. And I'm trying to say, how can I go about this to explain to you guys my true feelings about the subject, all right? Back in the day, arcades were not a safe space. Arcades were not a place where you could just go and play games. There was a lot of bullying. There was a lot of really, like I explained, locker room stuff that went on. And the thing is, back in the 90s, there was no internet. There was no place where you could report shit. So I'm absolutely sure that there was stuff that happened in video arcades during that era that was completely unacceptable by modern standards. Back then, when a weird thing happened, like a situation like this, most people would say, oh, that's just weird. I want nothing to do with that. Don't involve me with that weirdo shit. It wasn't like, oh, we should all gang up and report this to the authorities or do stuff like that. That was honestly not common. All right? It just wasn't. Okay? Now, in my experience in arcades on the East Coast of the United States, where I grew up, there were rumors about stuff that happened, but nothing was ever confirmed, and I was never personally involved with any kind of misbehavior or anything like that. All right? Certainly, I'll tell you this right now. If I had ever been aware and had knowledge of and or evidence that something really fucked up happened in an arcade, I absolutely 1,000,000% would have told my parents, went to authorities, whatever it took. But at least I was lucky enough that never happened to me. when I was growing up in the 90s. There was some weird shit that happened. There were guys who would play the game, and if they won a match, they would literally gyrate their hips and act like they were having sex with the fucking arcade machine. There were guys who would, like I said, one time I was picked up upside down, and the guy pretended like he was going to spinning pile drive me onto the arcade floor because I beat him in a match. There was some really weird shit that happened in arcades that I witnessed. I already told you guys the story about the kid who talked so much shit to another group of people who weren't locals that they said, we can't wait for you to go outside because we're going to beat the shit out of you. We're waiting for you in the parking lot. So the kid was so scared, he crawled into the ceiling of the arcade to try to escape. He thought there was like an escape route through the ceiling of the arcade. He went to the bathroom, locked himself in there, crawled into the ceiling tiles, and was trying to find an escape route. Then he got stuck in the ceiling of the arcade, and they had to call the fire department to come get him out of the ceiling because he had talked so much shit, he didn't want to get his ass beat. All right? Personal things that I witnessed. Okay? But none of that has to do with this situation. I'm just giving you my personal take on some weirdo shit. That's the kind of stuff that I witnessed. I never witnessed any fucked up sexual stuff like this stuff that's going on. All right? This is disgusting that these stories are coming out and everything. All right? Admittedly, when I was part of the competitive Street Fighter community, I always heard rumors about Mr. Wizard and that he did weird shit like this. And I was like, well, that's none of my business. I don't have evidence of it. There's nothing I can speak of. People who were there should have spoken up. People who were there who know this guy, right, should have done something about it if they knew that this was true. Or even if it was rumored to be true. They should have sat him the fuck down and said, what the fuck's your problem, man? You know, but to my knowledge, you know, I don't know anything about that. All I heard were rumors. So you don't judge people on rumor, right? You judge people on fact. And unless someone concretely came out and accused the guy of doing fucked up stuff, which never happened, right? Never were there outright allegations of anyone coming out and saying, this is really what happened, this is fucked up, this guy should be held accountable. Not until like 2 days ago, when this person who I knew from an IRC chat concretely accused him on the internet of doing it, and then Joey admitted it publicly that he had done it. Okay? So it took 20 years for this to catch up. All right? But, here's my take on the whole situation going on with EVO right now. So, Mr. Wizard steps down. He's out for good. The company is now turned over to Tony Cannon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Cannon is one of the Cannon brothers. Like I just mentioned, the twin brothers who, for the greater part of 20 years, have been in charge of the American Street Fighter community. All right? Now, how did they get in charge of the American Street Fighter community? Because they have money. There's no other reason. It wasn't that they were well respected in the community as known tournament organizers and top players. It wasn't because people, I don't know. Basically, these guys had a lot of money. And they were the only people who could finance big tournaments. And they decided they were going to do so. Now, I'm assuming originally they did it maybe because they loved Street Fighter, or maybe they thought they could turn it into a big business venture. I'm not sure what the reasoning was behind the scenes. But what I could tell you is this. At a time when in the 1990s, most Street Fighter tournaments were grassroots, were small, individually organized events, no real money backing behind them. It was people bringing, literally shipping in their personally owned Street Fighter cabinets to a location for people to play games. All right? Out of nowhere, the Cannon brothers come out of here and say, well, we're going to finance big scale tournaments and we're going to build a website called Shoryuken.com, which is going to be a focal hub for Street Fighter in the United States. Now, some people really liked this because they were like, wow, it sounds like Street Fighter is going to actually get an upgrade. People with money are actually going to come and try to finance events and stuff. And other people were very skeptical and like, well, I don't know who these guys are. You know, these guys are from the West Coast, apparently. You know, they're probably in cahoots with people from this Sunnyvale Golfland arcade. That's how people know them from, because they were locals there or whatever. And all of a sudden, they just decide they're going to be, like, figureheads in the community because they have money. It wasn't because people respected them as a huge authority or because they were tournament winners. They weren't. It's just because they had money, and they were the ones who were going to finance all this stuff. So, pretty much out of nowhere, and I mean that, like, out of nowhere, within a year's time, these guys had set themselves up to run big-scale tournaments on the West Coast because they financed them. And they started setting up things online, like I said, Shoryuken.com, they wanted to be the central hub for fighting games in the United States. And all of a sudden, they came to prominence out of nowhere. Now, for me, I was very skeptical. I was also very young. I was only, like, 18 18, 20 years old at the time. So to see these guys come to prominence out of nowhere, right, was kind of questionable, because on the East Coast, we didn't know who they were. But all of a sudden, now they're running everything. Oh, we're going to run this big-scale national tournament. We're going to run the website that everyone goes to for Street Fighter or whatever. And I could tell you I had positive and negative dealings with them. They were, I would say, for the most part, at the beginning, they were pretty fair. All right? But, okay, right here at these formative years of Street Fighter where it was starting to become big in a competitive way, they held a tournament called B5 on the West Coast, okay? And this was supposed to be the big tournament of the year. They promoted it like, this is the biggest tournament in the United States. You've got to be there if you're anyone from Street Fighter. It's open tournaments for things like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. At that point, I believe it was Capcom vs. SNK 1, so CVS 1. CVS 2 was not even out yet, okay? And this was the big tournament where Justin Wong was coming to prominence on the East Coast as a teenager. He was a teenage player, and he was winning all the tournaments over here in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So it was a big thing, because at the time, all the top players were on the West Coast, because they all came from that Sunnyvale, Golfland culture of people playing hardcore and being top players. There really weren't other established places in the United States where people were really as good as the players from there. But Justin Wong was exploding on the East Coast, winning every tournament, and basically it was like this East Coast, West Coast mentality, all right, of East Coast is just as good as the West Coast, but we don't have as much opportunity as you guys, because you have this Sunnyvale, Golfland arcade where everyone goes to play. We don't have that. We're more spread out. So this was supposed to be the big tournament where everyone was going to go to this tournament, and we're going to head up, fight each other. And yes, the Cannon brothers, Tony and Tom Cannon, and Mr. Wizard were running this tournament, okay? They were in charge. Now, there were other people involved. For example, John Choi was the top prominent player on the West Coast. I know for a fact he was involved with helping them run the tournament, along with many other West Coast players at the time were involved with helping them run it. But really, these were the top three guys. They were in charge of the tournament, all right? This tournament had many events. One of the events that it had was supposed to be the final Marvel vs. Capcom 1 tournament ever. Like, they were like, this will be the last major one in the United States, because MVC 2 is now out, the sequel's out, people just care about that, they don't care about the first game anymore. And they set up this big invitational event all right, by which the top players of the East Coast, the West Coast, and other places, including Japan, were involved. They were invited to be a part of this. Now, originally, it was supposed to be Roberto Aponte and Jose Feliciano, and I think one or two others from the East Coast of Connecticut were supposed to come, but one or two of them couldn't make it. And because of that, I campaigned. I said, I'm one of the top guys here. Certainly, I didn't win as many tournaments as those guys, but I campaigned to be a fill-in, and I actually got the spot. After campaigning for a long time, I got the spot. All right? So, we go to this tournament, and by the way, Justin Wong also goes to this tournament from New York City. He's like, really, everyone's eyes are on him. Is he going to win Marvel vs. Capcom 2 after so much rivalry of East Coast versus West Coast and all of this shit? Okay? We go to this tournament. All right? And the entire tournament is like a joke. Okay? Cabinets that are set up to be played on, a lot of them don't really work very well. The controls are kind of wonky. And multiple people from all over the country, I'm talking everyone from the East Coast in particular, complained to the tournament staff saying, we don't feel that these cabinets are working properly. They would walk up, pretend to test it, and walk away and say, yeah, it works. Okay? People who were West Coast prominent players, people who were in favor of the Cannons and Mr. Wizard, basically were given the best cabinets to play on, the cabinets that everyone said were working properly, while the people who weren't prominent from the West Coast were told to play on cabinets that were inferior. Cabinets that everyone said, wow, these aren't working very well. They basically didn't care. They say, if we like you, play on a working cabinet. If not, go play on the broken one. Okay? That's a major problem with arcade tournaments versus console tournaments where you can bring your own controller, right? But that's how it was back then. All right? During the course of the Marvel vs. Capcom 1 Invitational Tournament, the entire tournament was rigged. All right? What they did is they purposely floated the West Coast players to have matchups that they felt were easy wins for them and kept them apart so they never fought each other until the finals. While the East Coast players were forced to play each other every round. All right, so think about this. You spent money, more than likely $1,000 or more for plane tickets, hotel, to come to the West Coast and play in this invitational tournament. You show up and you say, okay, first round you're playing the guy from New York who you play all the time. Second round you're playing the guy from your own state who you play all the time. Wait, what? I flew to the West Coast and I didn't play anyone but the people who I play locally? Yes. They rigged the tournament that way. So all the East Coast players eliminated each other off, and there was no one, it wasn't legit at all. In the finals, it ended up being, I think it was the top 4 were 3 West Coast players and 1 East Coast player, and that player was Arturo Sanchez. Many of you know him as Saban. And why? Because Arturo, admittedly, was the best player on the East Coast besides Eddie Lee, but Eddie Lee was not at this event. He could not go. So Arturo, luckily, made it to the top of the tournament. And by the way, I believe he won the tournament. He beat all the West Coast players and won the whole thing for the East Coast, which was great. But it wasn't fair because we said, man, if you actually didn't have the East Coast players eliminate each other, the whole top 5 would have been East Coast players. But you rigged the tournament. And we made a big stink about this, okay? And guess what EVO staff told us? Ready? So who's ultimately responsible? The Cannons and Mr. Wizard. They ran the tournament. Here's what they told us. Well, that's an invitational. Doesn't matter. That's literally what they told us. They didn't admit, or they didn't say, oh, we didn't do that. They literally said, oh, well, that's an invitational. That tournament doesn't matter. Too bad. We don't care. Okay? So these are the guys who run the national tournament in the United States right now. Okay? Now, at that very same tournament, okay? That very same fucking tournament, Justin Wong wins Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It's a huge upset at that point because this was before anyone knew that Justin Wong was the best player overall in the country. Okay? And he wins the tournament. And they say, okay, we're going to give him his prize money. And they give him prize money, and it's way less than what he was supposed to get. Because they had advertised online on Shoryuken.com, here's the amount of entries, versus this amount of entries, this is the amount of pot that's going to go to each winner. They totally underpaid him, underchanged him. Huge, okay? And it was myself and Henry Sen. Henry Sen, for those who don't know, is a very long time, well-respected tournament organizer on the East Coast of the United States. We spoke up and said, this is bullshit. This is a kid, this is a teenager, all right? And why on earth, all right, why on earth are you going to rip him off for money? He's a teenager. He busted his ass to get here. He worked hard all year, winning tournament after tournament, probably busting his ass to raise enough money to go to these tournaments. He comes to your tournament, he becomes the national champion essentially for winning, and you're going to shortchange the kid? This is fucked up. To which we were basically bullshitted and told, oh, well, on the website it actually said this. We're like, no, it didn't. So we actually went to the website and found out they did lie. Guess what they did? A few hours after the tournament ended, they went to the website and changed the fucking page to say a different payout. So we had it archived. We had taken screenshots of what it said before and after. They changed it to basically lie and say they were keeping more of the money than they originally had said. Okay? Now this was I believe this was around the year 2000. All right? The year 2000 that this happened. And at this point, everyone was so sour. We all went home from this tournament sour as fuck. And we're like, after this, there's no possible way that these guys could be trusted to run tournaments anymore. Guess what? They became the prominent tournament organizers in the United States. They held EVO, which became the prominent tournament, and you had to put up with it. It was either you go to EVO and you put up with these these guys, Tony Cannon, Mr. Wizard. You have to put up with them running these tournaments this way, or else you just don't play in big tournaments. You could go to your locals, you could go to regionals, but EVO became known as the national tournament. Okay? So it was like all or nothing, right? You got to put up with the shit. And it sucked because, a lot of people who weren't favored on the West Coast always felt like they went to EVO and it was a waste of their time. They did. And because of this kind of mistreatment, because it always felt like things were not fair. All right. Now, fast forward to many years later, I actually became a relatively top player in the Super Turbo community around the 2006-2007 timeline. Okay. And basically, at that point in my life, I was getting a little older. I didn't really care about the drama of the community anymore. I had calmed down a bit. And admittedly, I had a much better relationship with the Cannons and with Mr. Wizard. Like, I did. Like, they kind of, the drama of East Coast, West Coast rivalry was dying down. It was becoming, what really happened was, the prominence of Street Fighter, all right, had died down. And because the prominence of Street Fighter had died down, basically, you had to take what you could get. If people were coming to your tournament, you better promote it as that, because you want more people to come to your tournament, because there were no new Capcom games. This was before Street Fighter 4 had come out. So you're talking 2006, 2007, the future of competitive Street Fighter is unknown. It may just die one day when people decide they don't want to play the same games again after they've been playing them for 6-7 years. All right? So at that point, admittedly, I would say they actually were very nice, and maybe they had learned and they were running better tournaments and the like. But even then, EVO was always behind the scenes controlled by the Cannons and Mr. Wizard. It was always them. They were always in charge of this competitive community. All right? So the point I'm making here, all right, is something very important. And why I feel I had to speak this knowledge is everyone in the competitive Street Fighter community basically knew that the Cannons and Mr. Wizard had a stranglehold on the U.S. competitive community, and there was no way we could stop them because they had the money to start these giant organized tournaments. Somehow they became the big dogs because they ran Shoryuken.com, and despite the fact that many people didn't like them and many people thought that they had done underhanded things, we had zero power to do anything about it. It was essentially either accept what they do or tough shit. All right? Now, over the years, that kind of mentality happened many times. I'll give you an example personally that happened to me. There was a time in the 2000s when the Cannon brothers, at this point I believe it was Tom Cannon, who was the coder of the brothers. He was the one who was writing GGPO netcode. Okay? He was pushing this heavily on the internet. People were able to use it for free to play games over the internet on their PC. You know, emulated versions of these games. And he was trying to basically perfect this netcode so he could sell it to game companies. He wanted to sell it to Capcom. He wanted to sell it to Bandai Namco. He wanted to sell it to all the fighting game companies and basically make tons of money because he felt his netcode was the best. What they did is they set up on Shoryuken.com a giant section of information where people would relay their experiences with GGPO, and they encouraged people to go there and tell their experiences about GGPO netcode. 99% of the people who posted positive things. And I said, how could this be possible? No one had a bad experience with this netcode. So I played it, and I was like, wait a minute, there's big problems with this netcode. The rollback is bad. There's a lot of dropped inputs, right? Now you're thinking, oh, this is what they want. They want positive feedback, right? They want real concrete positive feedback, all right? So I posted feedback that was constructive. I said, there's some really good things about this netcode, because it doesn't play in slow-mo like other netcode. Other netcode at the time, if you tried to play a fighting game online, it would be like molasses. You're playing underwater with lag. With GGPO, it would always seem to run at the right speed, but there was the rollback netcode where something would happen, it would skip backwards, and then also there was a lot of dropped inputs. You would do a move, and nothing would happen, or the input wouldn't come out at all. I posted that up. They deleted my posts. So I said, that's not right. I posted it up again. They banned me from Shoryuken.com. And behind the scenes, I contacted the Cannon brothers, and Tom in particular, in an IRC chat. I said, what gives? This is bullshit. Don't you want actual constructive criticism? And you know what he told me? No. He said, I don't want constructive criticism. What I need is a bunch of people to post up positive stuff so my code looks good so I can sell it. And I said, isn't that, like, immoral? You're basically telling people to only say positive or lie and say positive things so you can make money? He's like, yeah, but, we need the money. We run EVO and everything, so this will help us. So, shut the fuck up. It's essentially what I was told in an IRC chat. Private message, of course. And back then, see, I really wish that this stuff had been documented back then. But, it can't be. It can't be documented because it was old school shit. And I'm sure people will say I made all this up, even though I talked about this publicly over the years. If you look back on my videos here on YouTube and everything, I've already talked about this publicly many times over the years, that these guys basically were not to be trusted. They were out for making money and out for themselves. They weren't like trustworthy people, and they weren't very good people to be running the whole community. But I just sat back, and then especially when I became a full-time YouTuber, all right, and I saw these guys become the big prominent tournament, and they were, oh my God, now they're live streaming, and they get all these views on their tournament. I said, whatever. I don't care anymore. This is why I basically took myself, one of the major reasons why I took myself out of the competitive community. I was done with the drama. I didn't even mention this. So in 2007, the last major EVO I attended, all right, last major EVO I ever attended, I go there, and I purposely decided I wanted to practice against a variety of competition rather than the East Coast people I had always played with, because I figured this was a better, safe thing to do. Rather than, I've already played these guys a million times. I'm not going to learn anything playing the same people over and over, right? So let me go ahead and do a more variety style of gameplay. So I actually teamed up with the Graham brothers. These are two brothers who are really good old school Super Turbo players, and I played the living shit out of the game with them for about, multiple tournaments and days that year. All right. And so basically people started, I don't even know how to say it, but as I told you guys many times, I'm still to this day, not well liked. Back then I wasn't well liked by the West Coast in particular, people in power. And, what a huge coincidence. I go to EVO 2007 to play Super Turbo. First round match, I'm playing one of the Graham brothers. Wait, what? So I'd never played these guys before, but people got reports that I was playing heavily with these guys, right? I was playing heavily with these guys to learn things about the game in a very quick manner to prepare for the tournament. First round, I'm playing one of the guys I was just practicing against. Like, what are the chances of that? By the way, it's incredibly rare in any major tournament that two well-regarded players play each other first round. Generally, it's accepted that you don't put top players against each other first round so that, people have more of a chance to advance before you get the top matches and stuff. But they put us against each other first round. And that was it for me. Like, when that happened, I was like, I'm done with this. I've been doing this, at that point, I've been traveling to play Street Fighter for like 7-8 years. And I was like, I was so defeated. I was like, what was the point of me working so hard to try to become a top player when at any moment I could go to a tournament and someone has a bug up their ass about me and they rig the bracket and I get fucked? And that's exactly what happened. I got fucked over and I got beaten by the guy who knew how to fight me because we had been training for, a while together to prepare for this tournament, and they knew it and they rigged it. And I had enough of that. And that was the end of it for me. Like, I was like, since then, when Street Fighter 4 came out, did I go and play a few more tournaments? Yes. But it was never anything major. Maybe I thought I would get the spark back or whatever. And after a couple years of trying it, I said, I just don't care anymore. And I just don't care about competitive Street Fighter anymore. So I don't care if they all talk shit about me and they blacklist me, and I don't give a fuck. It doesn't affect me at all. Me and my streams here, I do what I love. I interact with you guys and play games. I have no desire to go back to the competitive Street Fighter community. All right. So, here's the thing. Here's why I'm telling this story. There is a history of systematic corruption with this group of tournament directors. There always has been. All right? People from back in the day know it. We were there. We experienced it firsthand. We saw it happen over and over. And we swallowed it because we were like, it's either we put up with it, or I guess there's really no major Street Fighter community because these guys have the money to shut things down. At any point, they will ban you from Shoryuken.com. They'll make it that your tournament's blacklisted and no one cares about it. They had the power to do that shit. So it was like you either accept these guys or you're fucked. And that's how it always was in the Street Fighter community. And I got to a point in my life where I was like, they ain't worth it anymore. I don't care. And then you see them getting bigger and bigger. EVO had record attendees. EVO had record viewers online. I'm like, how could I care about this when I know how these guys are? All right. So to me, here's the end of the story and why I felt like it was meaningful to tell you guys this story. All right. All these allegations come out about Mr. Wizard. Mr. Wizard is now out of EVO. Oh, we're handing EVO over to Tony Cannon. What? That's not a change. Tony Cannon, Tom Cannon, Mr. Wizard were always the three guys in charge of fucking EVO. The Cannon brothers are incredibly longtime friends and knew Joey forever. They were well aware of these allegations, probably more so than anyone else, and never addressed them. They continued to put him into positions of power. They made him the CEO. By the way, they were the ones who behind the scenes owned EVO. All right, I don't know about now legally what they did, but behind the scenes, they were the ones who always owned the business. They were the ones who put him into power. Okay? So, we're making changes by turning the company back over to the people who really own it and who put this guy in power, even though they knew that he was doing this 20 years ago anyway. That's not a change. Someone made a really good post about this on Twitter. They said, this change is essentially taking the desk chairs, or excuse me, the deck chairs on the Titanic and just shuffling them around. Yeah, because you've got the same people who enabled a person who they knew was this kind of person, all right, to become a prominent guy and in charge of EVO. And now, he's out, but we take back over. Like, wait, what? No. If you actually want this to be not corrupted by this really fucked up stuff that's going on right now, you need to clean the slate. You need to say, okay, we're going to put people in charge who are not the same people who've always been in charge and knew about this shit and basically swept it under the rug for 20 years. We need people who are actually going to do things right. They're going to hold people accountable. They're going to run a tournament well. They're going to do everything correctly. All right? Telling me that you're going to hand it over to a person who was enabler and a person who hid this for 20 years and put Mr. Wizard into more and more positions of power over the years, knowing this is not any solution at all. It's the opposite. It's called damage control. It's called, well, he finally got caught, so we'll pretend like we care, even though we had 20 years to do something about it and we didn't. Just the contrary, right? That's bullshit to me. All right? That's bullshit to me. So, listen. I have no power in the Street Fighter community. All right? Zero. I have no stake in the Street Fighter community. Zero. I have no plans to ever go back to the competitive Street Fighter community. But when I'm following all this shit, I'm just got to shake my head and be like, I guess I made the right decision. I guess I did. I get at one point, yeah, and I feel bad for the thousands of people who are part of the competitive fighting game community who are now going through this shit and they're like, what's going to happen to our future? I feel bad for them because they're invested. They love the games. There's a lot of people out there who aren't doing it for the wrong reasons. They love these games. They want to see the fighting game community become prominent. They want to see it become seriously, taken seriously. They want to see it grow as it has been in the past decade. And these things coming out, these allegations against these people are horrendously disgusting. And this is the kind of stuff that ruins a community. And I hope it doesn't. I hope that things somehow get better, all right? Because 20 years of the same people being in charge of competitive fighting games in the United States, all right? There's got to be a change now, and we couldn't institute or activate any changes 20 years ago when we first saw these guys doing corrupted stuff. We couldn't do it 13 years ago, when I quit competitive Street Fighter because I had enough of the bullshit. No power, but now people have the ability to step up and say, enough of this corruption and bullshit. Let's get someone new in there to actually become the new leaders of competitive fighting games in the United States. And we need that. We need someone fresh, someone new, someone different. I would support. Obviously, I know quite a few people on the East Coast who I believe still organize and run tournaments who could very well slide in there and do a national. But I don't see, I seriously don't see moving forward the competitive Street Fighter community continuing to survive with the same people in charge. People who knew about this stuff for 20 years, hid it on purpose, because Mr. Wizard's their buddy, right? Oh, he's our buddy. He used to work at the arcade where we hung out, and we all became friends, and now we make him our buddy, and he runs everything, even though we know all this fucked up shit, So I'm done with competitive Street Fighter. I will play the games casually online. I'll have fun doing that, covering it, but I am not going to involve myself with this shit. I'm done with it. I'm too old for it. And I certainly, after all the drama and shit that I've been through with this community, I'm done with that garbage. I just want to sit here on my stream and have fun with you guys on a daily basis. And, this is a unique situation where I could actually tell you my experience with what happened with these guys and saying enough is enough, time to move on. Okay? And don't worry, because no one's going to care about what I say. No one's going to listen. This isn't going to, if anything, this story will be spread as, oh, it's slander, it's bullshit, Phil made it all up, whatever. I just wanted to get it off my chest. I've told the full story now of my side of what I know. And now it's out there, and probably no one will care, and I don't care either. I'm just done with it. I'm just fucking done with it. Okay? It's hilarious because half the people in the stream chat just complain the whole time. Even though this is, you guys tune into the pre-stream, I'm going to talk about unrelated stuff. To what game I'm going to play today or whatever. People just sitting here complaining, right? So, it is what it is. All right? I'm done with that shit. And now I'm never going to bring it up again. In fact, you know what? I'll say this up front. Don't bother me about it. Don't bother me about it ever again. I don't care. All right? I'm not going to sit here and talk about it anymore. I'm not part of it. I have no stake in it. I've said my piece. I got it off my chest. I never trusted those fucking guys. I always knew there was shit going on. They always got away with everything. And, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be fucking surprised that they still get away with it. And the next year they're running EVO and it's bigger than ever. I wouldn't even be fucking surprised. I would not be in the least surprised. Okay? Okay? All right, fair enough. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to another topic, and now I don't have to bring this shit up anymore because I'm done with it. I guess we'll just go right to shoutouts. Okay? Let's go right to shoutouts. Hold on, I gotta ban somebody. There we go. Okay. Shoutouts. Thanks to everyone who contributed so far today. Now we can get back on topic. Knows Nobody was today's first cheerer, saying that someone whose name I never heard of got into a serious car accident. I hope he's doing okay. Well, I don't know who this is. Obviously, anyone who gets into a serious car accident, I hope they're okay. I have no idea why you're bringing up someone completely unrelated to my content or my streams, on my streams. But anyway, thanks for the cheer, I guess. Okay. Hold on, let me get him. Okay, Knows Nobody is technically the top cheerer of the day. I really get a lot of the times, I get the feeling that people bring stuff up to try to get me to say stuff on stream as like a quote that they can, I can clip that, and look what I got Phil to say this name that is hilarious or something. I don't know who this guy is. I feel bad if anyone gets to a car accident. Why do I need to bring this up? Right? Okay. Alexander Rossi cheers. He said, back in the old days of the fighting community, it was a boys' club with all that sexual misconduct. How'd you avoid getting caught up in that shit if it was a normal thing to do? I didn't say there was massive sexual misconduct. I actually just told my story. Or I said, no, where I grew up, was there weird shit that happened? Yes. Was there sexual misconduct? No. At least not to my knowledge. And that was crazy because I grew up in the 90s. I was young. I was in my young teens when Street Fighter 2 first came out. So, that would have been pretty fucked up if sexual stuff happened. It didn't. To my knowledge, no crazy sexual misconduct happened where I grew up. To my knowledge. Okay? Alice Telemon cheers says, I repeat, don't cancel Ask the King. See? So every time that I say G, I think that maybe Ask the King is a little outdated or whatever. People speak up and say, don't cancel it. So I've created the link. You guys can post up your questions. I certainly hope you will. Okay? Crabcock did 105-bit cheers. I feel Mr. Wizard sorry he got caught. Not sorry for what he did. Who knows? Who knows what goes through the mind of someone like that? Who knows if it was just isolated incidents in the late 90s, early 2000s that were really fucked up and then he learned his lesson and never did it again, or who knows if he kept doing that. There's no way to tell. You would have to hear from more people about stuff like this. And I don't know, nor do I give a fuck. Okay? DSP and Wings, yeah. He cheered. He says, isn't it possible someone could accuse you of something? Of course. Of course it's possible someone could accuse me of something. I can tell you right now, none of it would ever be true because I've never, ever done fucked up stuff like this. Never. I've told you, when I've been, involved with anything like this. I never got myself involved with messed up stuff. I was like trying squeaky clean. I didn't want to get involved with fucked up stuff. I heard all the fucked up stories around me. I don't want to be involved in that. I'm here to play games, man. And then when I became a YouTuber, I'm here to document and make videos, man. That's all I'm here for. I don't want to be involved with any of this shit. You know, you can say, you can look at all the flaws I have and all the fucked up stuff I've done online publicly, and you can call me out for that stuff 1,000,000%. And, you know, I'll take all responsibility for that. But behind the scenes, no fucked up stuff happened with me, man. You know, I never wanted to involve myself with fucked up stuff like that. Okay? Black Mage C-Type resubscribed for 2 months in a row. Thank you, Black Mage C-Type, for a 2-month resub. Oh, here we go. DSP and Wings, I have no idea what you're talking about. And if you keep bringing up unrelated shit like that, you're not going to be here anymore. Okay? I killed Phil. He says, are you going to play the fucking game? Yes. Then he cheered again. He says, tell me what sort of the bad man touched you. That's not funny at all. And in fact, you now get a nice timeout because you think it's funny to joke about pedophilia. It's not. And now you can actually be banned for a while and see how you feel about that. See how funny that is when you're not on the stream anymore. Tarantula MS 2018 to me $4.20. He says, what you just said about the fighting game community sounds very similar to what happened here in Pennsylvania with Sandusky and Joe Paterno. Yeah, I wouldn't know because I'm not into sports. Obviously, everyone heard in the news about corruption and covering stuff up, you know, over the years in that situation. Maybe it is. Maybe it actually is very similar to that situation. I don't know. I didn't really follow that story too much, but it's very possible. Thank you for the $4 tip, Tarantula. Nose Vacuum Charity says, why did you went on EVO things so long if you don't care? Don't you value our time? Because I said I had information I wanted to share. This is my personal experience with this whole thing. And people can do with it what they want. I'm sure most people will say it's not true. And say that I made it all up. Or I'm just salty and sour because I'm not part of the community anymore. I don't give a fuck. It was for my own, getting it off my chest. Telling you what I knew. And you know. And that's it. It's very simple. Do with it as you will. Alright? If you thought that it was everyone's waste of time, well, it's fine. I'm not going to talk about it anymore anyway, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay? All right. Shout-outs. Let's get the shout-outs, folks. Thank you to the following people who cheered so far this week. We've got RPG Fan and Magnus Flamebeard tied for 9th. Awesomeness Kaboom in 8th. Crapcock in 7th. Timbo Slice in 6th. Only Iced Coffee in 5th. A tie between DSP and Wings and Nye Morgan in 3rd. Excuse me, plus Ace Best, so technically it's a tie for 2nd. And in 1st place, we got Shadow the Hedgehog so far. Very nice. And then, thank you to the following people who all gifted subscriptions this week, including Ultima Cloud, who gifted a single subscription. Lunaba, who gifted 2. Golden Nobles, who gifted 2. RPG Fan gifted 8 subscriptions. And Only Iced Coffee gifted a whopping 15 subs. Thank you guys for the support. Alright, guys, I gotta use the bathroom. I shall be back soon. All right, with more, with gameplay. Actually, oh my God, there's gameplay on this stream. Did you guys know that? Yes, I'll be back with SpongeBob, and we'll see how far we get today. All right, I don't know how far we're gonna get. All right, it is time for a quick break, and I'll be right back. Thanks, everyone. See you in a bit.